for Texas, I think it's one of those deals where the more we talk about this, it's like we need to find out where the holes are. Like, what are the concerns? Because something's going to leak, right?
Sure.
Like, this isn't a perfect team with that's going to just roll through this and go 12-0 and beat everybody by 12 or 14 points. So, what are those potential trouble spots? And for Texas over the last couple of years, it's just been closing games. It's been small margins. It's been the little stuff. I don't know how you judge that until it gets to the season. And over the next couple of months, stuff's going to happen behind the scenes that we're not going to be privy to that's going to dictate those small margins between 8-4 and 11-1, because it really is that small for this team.
Agreed.
Because they have the talent for it.
Well, it was that small last year. I mean, obviously the Alabama game was a 1-point ball game.
Yeah.
The Texas Tech game was overtime, then could have gone either way. Oklahoma State was a 31-17 lead that you lost. I mean, these were games that you just got to finish.
That's 11-1 right there.
Yeah, and the two games that were most, I mean, the Alabama game was certainly frustrating, but Bryce Young's Bryce Young, and it's Alabama. The game in Lubbock and the game in Stillwater, you win one of those games that were there for you to win with double-digit leads in the second half. You win one of those, you're playing for the Big 12 title game after beating Baylor. Just if you look at the numbers, they would have been in there ahead of K-State playing TCU, again, in a rematch for the Big 12 title. So, yes, you're right. It's the small margins. And does that come from the leadership? Does that come from the things we've talked about, the culture that Steve Sarkisian just discussed, and then the improved quarterback play, right? That's what your hope is with Quinn Ewers advancing. He looked really good in the spring. And I'll read this. I mean, credit to our friends at Inside Texas. They had a story last week from their insider column talking about asking some people within the program who were the best players going into the spring, and then the best players during the spring and then coming out of spring. 5 best players each way. And according to their insider, the best players after spring coming out, these are the best 5 players in their opinion on the Longhorn team: Kelvin Banks, Tavondre Sweat, Quinn Ewers, Xavier Worthy, Jalen Ford, and then they also mentioned Byron Murphy and JT Sanders. So those are your cornerstone players, right? Those Quinn Ewers in there that's a good thing. X-Man, Byron Murphy, Sark talked about him all spring being unblockable. We talk about Jatavion Sanders potentially being an All-American at tight end. Kelvin Banks is a prodigy at left tackle. Yeah. And then Tavondre Sweat, that's interesting to me that he's come back for this year. He wants to follow in those footsteps of Coburn and Ojimo and put himself on the NFL draft radar for next April.